Meet the stadium. Standing as majestic mountain-like monuments, they are a point of reference for many die-hard sports fans and a home away from home. Within their confines, games are won and hearing is lost as fans do their best to stress the structures of their stadiums with chanting and bouncing. Some grounds are hallowed, others high-tech, but they all can't hide from the truth. There once was a time when stadiums were glorified mounds of dust. Take the Circus Maximus. Dating back to the 6th century BC, it was the first and largest stadium in ancient Rome, with up to 150,000 people gathered there to watch the world's most popular spectator sport, chariot racing. However, with the Flavian dynasty keen to give audiences even more theatrics, the largest ever amphitheater, the Colosseum, was built. At the turn of the 20th century, stadiums were faceless facilities with the sole purpose of cramming as many people as possible into concrete tiers to watch a live event. Great Britain built the first example of this. The White City Stadium was constructed in time for the 1908 Olympics, and the rectangular model was exported around the world. Nowadays, spectators want more from their stadiums than just a cold seat to sit on. And in the modern age of technology, nobody does it better than the home of the NFL's San Francisco 49ers. Levi's Stadium. Located in Santa Clara, California, it has a capacity of up to 77,000 people and has embraced modern technology in a way never seen before. With free high-speed Wi-Fi and the implementation of a smartphone app, spectators can be guided to their seats from as far as the parking lot, as well as advised on the shortest lines to the bathroom. Fans can also order food and drink from their seats and have them delivered, and can watch replays if they miss the action live. Incorporating environmentally friendly components like solar panels and a 27,000-foot green roof, the stadium is also a leader in the field in sustainability and design. But while the impact it's had as an urban icon has been positive, the football played there has not been. In the first 2 years of the new pad, the 49ers didn't make the playoffs, going 8-8 in 2014 and 5-11 in 2015. Coming up, the shrines of the world game. There are many concrete structures in England that claim to be the ideal place to watch a football match. And while some of these venues confidently claim to be legendary, only one is considered to be the house of football: Wembley Stadium. In November 2015, Wembley Stadium played host to a friendly between England and France. But in this instance, the circumstances surrounding the match were greater than the match itself. Sure, it was a chance for England to end a winless streak against Le Bleu that dated back to 1997, when they beat France in the Tournoi de France. But since then, they recorded just 2 draws and 4 losses. But it was also a chance to showcase solidarity, as Wembley was lit up in the colours of the French flag to commemorate the tragedy of the terrorist attacks that hit Paris just a week prior. And just prior to kickoff, fans from both teams joined in to sing the French national anthem. When it was all said and done, England ended their drought, defeating France 2-0 in front of just over 71,000 spectators.
71,000 is a great crowd. I thought that they played their part in respecting the ceremony and played their part also in helping our team to perform as it did.
The new Wembley proved it was more than just a stadium, but a platform to promote peace. Not bad for an iconic hunk of concrete. The original Wembley first opened in 1923 as the British Empire Exhibition Stadium. Destined for demolition just 4 years later, it took a sly entrepreneur to buy it and essentially save it. In 1948, it was the main arena for the London Olympics, where visitors were welcomed by its iconic towers. But it was best known as a venue for football. The old stadium hosted 5 European Cup finals, 2 UEFA Cup Winners' Cup finals, the annual FA Cup, and numerous England international matches. Most notably, the 1966 World Cup final, where they defeated Germany 4-2, thanks to a Geoff Hurst hat-trick, including a goal that many claim wasn't one, like Hurst himself.
Nothing's proved conclusively that it was in, to be honest with you. It's still that I had a poor view because the ball came down behind the keeper on the line, so I didn't see it. I had the worst view. But the Sky is saying it was probably, it's showing it's over the line, which I can't believe.
In 2007, the old stadium was demolished and a new one was built, with the Twin Towers being replaced by a soaring 134-metre-high arch on a state-of-the-art stadium that seats 90,000. With a circumference of 1 kilometre, the structure also holds 56 kilometres of heavy-duty cables, 90,000 cubic metres of concrete, 23,000 tonnes of steel, and 2,618 toilets. More than any venue in the world. Be proud, England. Be very proud. The first official match played in the new stadium was between 2 under-21 teams, as England and Italy battled it out to a 3-all draw. Wembley also featured as the 2012 Olympic Games home to both men's and women's football finals, leaving Pele himself to say, "Wembley is the cathedral of football, the capital of football, and the heart of football." Wembley has also been home to rock concerts and rugby matches, even a marriage proposal following Romania's loss to Ireland at the 2015 Rugby World Cup. It's also been the place where the Americans have attempted to showcase its form of football to the rest of the world in what is known as the NFL International Series.
Just to come over here and be embraced and have the opportunity to play a game in Wembley, it's amazing.
But it will always be known as one of the greatest places to play the world game.
This is what I tell to my players every time we go to Wembley. It's more than a final, it's a Wembley final.
Welcome to Munich. The capital of Bavaria in Germany, it is known for its most famous beer festival, Oktoberfest, which starts with a gallant and proper parade before the whole thing ends in a jovial beer-drinking mess. But it is also known for its love of sport.
Munich has big experiences in sports events. In 1972, we had the Olympic Games. In 1974, we had a FIFA World Cup here, which the German team won. Furthermore, we had athletics European Championships and the Euro Games. So we are used to hosting such events, and we always welcome our guests hearty.
These hearty sports fans now also have one of the world's most architecturally spectacular stadiums, Allianz Arena. The home of 1860 München and most notably Bayern Munich. Inaugurated a year before Germany hosted the 2006 World Cup, the 66,000-seater boasts 3 tiers and ensures every seat is a good one. It also has Europe's largest underground car park on site, providing nearly 10,000 spaces.
The very special feature of this stadium is its architecture. When you look at it from the outside, it is fascinating, breathtaking. It is hard to explain in words. It is just beautiful and very exceptional. But I do think that the stroke of genius of the building lies in its lighting.
Yes, the lighting. The 2,874 inflated panels can be separately illuminated in white, blue and red. Self-cleaning, fire, heat and cold resistant, they create a magnificent backdrop at night. With the light show accompanying the show on the pitch, it's the perfect home for Bayern, also known as FC Hollywood. If Allianz is state-of-the-art, then there is a stadium in Portugal that is artistically stately. It's only fitting that Braga, the oldest city in Portugal, one that balances aging monasteries with forward-thinking tech companies, have a breathtaking and innovative work carved into the Monte Castro hillside. The Estadio Municipal de Braga was built in time for the European Championships in 2004, leaving many calling it a work of art.
The project, as you can see, is unique. Hard work, 1 million of stone, 1 million cubic meters of stone that we had to take off, and this is it. We are very proud. We think that we have here not only a stadium, but a masterpiece of architecture.
The 1 million cubic meters of stone Machado is referring to took a year to remove. And then construction of the stadium began, taking another 18 months. The stadium may be nicknamed the Quarry, but it is elegant and essential. Case in point, in 2006, while the world was watching the World Cup unfold in the Allianz Arena and other stadiums across Germany, the Estadio Municipal was busy winning the Chicago Athenaeum International Architecture Award for the best new global design. After the break, building Brazil. A mayor of an Olympic city is a very busy man. Take Eduardo Paes, mayor of Brazil's second largest city, Rio de Janeiro. Already having to deal with a city struggling with crime, infrastructure issues, and an economy that isn't exactly rosy, he was given another daunting task, that of leading a city that won the right to host the 2016 Summer Games. So off he went, bouncing from build to build, venue to venue, and stadium to stadium, overseeing everything with a strained smile on his face. Renovating Rio was never going to be easy. But Brazil decided to give it a go, building 9 venues from scratch, with Mayor Paes testing every one of them, including the Olympic Training Center, which is Olympic basketball and Paralympic wheelchair basketball and wheelchair rugby in Arena Carioca 1. He then moved to Arena 4 and gave handball a try in the new surroundings. And seeing that he couldn't be cloned, others stepped in to try tennis at Arenas 2 and 3. But before the canoe slalom venue at Deodoro in northern Rio was open to the public, Paes threw on a red life vest and took the opportunity to go for a paddle himself. And when the media submersed him with questions on how the financing of the games was coming together, Paes answered those too.
The combined amount of what the City Hall spent on health and education from 2009, when we won the rights to host the Olympics, to now, including 2016, is $16.1 billion. In venues, Rio City Hall spent $161 million over the last 8 years. It is 1% of what we have spent in health and education. There is no dilemma. Things do not need to be different.
But for all the new venues and upgrades, like those needed for the João Havelange Stadium due to structural problems despite being opened in 2007, there is one 2016 Olympic venue that is a stoic sporting shrine from the past. The Maracanã. Like the country it lives in, the Maracanã is big, really big. It has also been home to one of Brazil's biggest sporting disasters, the 1950 World Cup final. In front of a world record crowd of nearly 200,000 people, Brazil ended up losing to Uruguay 2-1 in one of the biggest upsets in football history, now known as the Maracanaza. The stadium itself was a small disaster. Incomplete during the World Cup, it had no toilets or press box, and despite works being done through the years, there was concern that the humid Brazilian weather, poor maintenance, and years of fans' urine in the cement was a real threat to the stadium's substructure. So it was partially rebuilt in time for the 2013 Confederations Cup. But while Brazil was defeating Spain 3-0 to take the title inside the stadium, clashes between police and protesters were taking place outside it, as people vented their anger towards the Brazilian government and its spending on major sporting events. So why is the Maracanã so special? One reason could be that one of the game's greatest ever called the Maracanã his football home. The magical midfielder Zico scored 333 goals in 435 matches there, garnering him his own statue outside the stadium. The other reason is that it is symbolic of the nation's passion for football, a structure filled with dancing crowds, national and international competitions, and all the color Brazilian football has to offer. So it was only fitting that Pele score his 1,000th career goal there on November 19, 1969. And it was the home to Germany's 2014 World Cup final win against Argentina. More than a stadium, the Maracanã is a structural icon. If the Maracanã is all things football in South America, then Yankee Stadium is all things baseball in North America. Opened in 2009, its overall price tag of $2.3 billion makes it the most expensive stadium ever built. Home to the New York Yankees Baseball Club and New York City Football Club in the MLS, it seats around 50,000 people, but it once seated more, as the original Yankee Stadium. The Cathedral of Baseball was opened in 1923 and cost $2.4 million, or a fraction of the current stadium's price tag. But some of the baseball experience there was priceless. Like Babe Ruth hitting his record-setting 60th home run back in 1927. Or Lou Gehrig Appreciation Day on July 4th, 1939, in honor of the Iron Horse, who played 2,130 consecutive games before having to retire due to a devastating disease that later took on his name. 3 perfect games were pitched there, and 100 World Series games were played there. In total, the stadium hosted 6,581 Yankees regular season home games during its 85-year history. 16 out of 17 World Series played in the Bronx were clinched there, 9 by the home team. The stadium housed other events, including rock concerts and visits from various popes, as well as one championship boxing match, that of Muhammad Ali versus Ken Norton in 1976, that Ali won by unanimous decision. In rugby, the stadium all players aspire to set foot in one day is located across the Atlantic Ocean from New York in Greater London. Built in 1907 and opened in 1909, Twickenham is the second largest stadium in the UK behind Wembley, but is the world's largest rugby stadium, labelled the home of England rugby. However, at the 2015 World Cup, England was long gone before the final was held on the hallowed ground, with trans-Tasman rivals Australia and New Zealand battling it out on rugby's biggest stage. In the end, the All Blacks beat the Wallabies 34-17. Just 20 kilometres northeast of Twickenham Stadium stands another sporting shrine, but for a gentler game. Cricket claims Lord's as its home, as its first match on the current grounds dates back to 1814. Home of the world's oldest sports museum, it got itself a bit of a facelift back in the late 90s, unveiling a spaceship-style media centre to add a touch of modernity to the old place, and making it the perfect place for archery at the London 2012 Games. South of Lord's stands a series of tennis courts where croquet was once played, but is now the home to the most prestigious of all the tennis Grand Slams.
Oyez! Oyez! Welcome to the first day of Wimbledon!
The All-England Lawn Tennis and Croquet Club in Wimbledon is home to the Wimbledon Championships, the only Grand Slam held on grass. Founded by a group of croquet-crazed men in the mid-1800s, tennis took over the grounds by the turn of the century, making the 15,000-seat centre court, where all finals are played, the pinnacle of every tennis career.
I enjoy playing in Wimbledon every year. I think for any tennis player, very deep inside is always going to be the most special events.
Still to come, bigger doesn't mean better.
There you go!
The International Olympic Committee has the honor to announce the host city of the Olympic Winter Games 2022. Beijing.
The National Stadium in Beijing, dubbed as the Bird's Nest, was given a lifeline after the city won hosting duties of the 2022 Winter Olympics. The venue has hosted a scattering of events since the Summer Games closed up shop back in 2008. But prior to the 2022 announcement, Beijing 2008 banners and logos were still seen everywhere inside the venue. In fact, the Bird's Nest has effectively become an awe-inspiring but incredibly expensive tourist afterthought, costing $11 million a year to maintain. Now, with the Winter Games on the radar, Beijing turned the Bird's Nest into the venue of the biggest snowboard festival in the world in late 2015, with hopefully more snow sports to come. Some stadiums that have stood the test of time from their days as Olympic focal points include Melbourne Cricket Ground, built in 1853, but put into good use as the home to the Summer Games nearly a century later. And the Rose Bowl, which held cycling events at the 1932 Games in Los Angeles, only to become a National Historic Landmark and home to the annual Rose Bowl college football game and soccer friendlies. In stadiums, it seems bigger isn't necessarily better. In fact, if you look at the top 10 stadiums by capacity in the world, led by the Rungrado 1st of May Stadium in North Korea, only the MCG holds events of international sporting significance, while the others seem to be popular solely to the country that owns them, although they are curiously appreciated from afar. the biggest stadium for big-name football is Camp Nou in Barcelona, Spain. Ranking just below the MCG on the list in terms of capacity, it's considered a cathedral of world football, having hosted some of the World Games' greatest events and greatest players. Barca intends to add seats to their stadium to get them well over 100,000 spectators, but many are content to make the most of the space they got. Because what matters most is that the space acts as an old stomping ground where the present is cheered and the past is honored, all in a place called home. And that is the truth.